Welcome to Biz Dev Live. My name is Cameron Toth. I am your host, and I am so excited to bring you the amazing Liza Wisner. She has done incredible things, traveled the globe. You're going to hear about it all today. We're going to talk about some amazing takeaways to discover who you are, maximizing your time, automating stuff. We have so much to talk about. I hope you'll stay with me. She is somebody that you want in your connections, in your world. She is literally about changing the world. She's very much in my same mission of helping the youth, providing opportunity and education. Stay with me. We'll be right back with all that and more.
Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz D with C, brought to you by Cameron T. Biz D with C, brought to you by Cameron T. This is business development, not even selling it. This is intelligent. If you watch it, I promise you benefit. Leadership and motivation, empathy and inspiration. Leadership and motivation, empathy and inspiration. Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz D with C, brought to you by Cameron T. Biz D with C, brought to you by Cameron T.
Liza Wisner is a hero. She's an award-winning television personality. Liza Wisner is a diversity, equity, and inclusion talent development expert, workforce optimization keynote speaker, and was a top 3 finalist on the television show The Apprentice on NBC. Liza serves her community as the Senior Curator of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion initiatives at OpenSesame on a mission to develop the world's most productive, admired, and inclusive workforces. Professionally trained in computer science and educational technology, Liza has built an incredible career and has turned her love of human capital optimization and process automation into a fulfilling life. Liza is also the founder of social organizations, including the nonprofit PowerUp.org, whose mission is to bridge the divide and provide opportunities where everyone rises up. For more information about Liza, you can find her at lizawisner.com. So happy, so excited to bring Liza to the show. Thank you for being here.
Oh my goodness. It's interesting when you hear your bio read to you, you're like, I've done all that. So thank you so much. This is
and a lot more. There was a lot left out in that bio, I have to say.
Oh, well, just a little sprinkling. So I really appreciate the support, Cameron. It's been such a pleasure getting to know you. And you've got such a cool show over here. So I'm glad to be in the Biz Dev Live show. So thank you for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. Listen, I am just excited because we get to promote, some of the things that you not only have done, but are doing. And you are truly, my life mission is opportunity and education. It stems from me wanting to help, little me, teenager me that was just lost and couldn't kind of find my direction. You're doing all that and more. So I'm really excited to get into it. So please tell everybody what you're currently doing, with PowerUp.org, and because you're in a lot of different spaces in the myriad of videos that I've been watching. You're a fellow Toastmasters on top of a whole bunch of other things that you're doing. So you really do have a lot going on. So just give people sort of a sense of what you are doing right now, and then we'll get into the backstory.
Well, hold on. First of all, did you say fellow Toastmaster? Are you a Toastmaster?
I am.
Fist bumps! Oh my goodness! I can't believe it! Oh my God! Every time I'm in the country, I'm like, you know where it's at. You know where leaders are made. So congratulations on being in the community.
Thank you very much. And you've got like the medal. You've got the whole.
I got it all. DTM. I teach it. I've been director, area director, district. So yeah, I live and breathe Toastmasters. It's my life.
That's awesome. And for anybody that's lost, like what the hell is a Toastmaster and all that kind of stuff right now? It's a place you go to learn how to speak better. And part of my commitment to this show, which I started just about a year ago, and this is episode 202, something like that, is I wanted to speak better. I just said, I think, and get some of those filler words out and really make sure that as I'm delivering communication, it's clear. And I think, for folks that are growth minded and want to be leaders, it's a great organization. Go there. It's fairly inexpensive, and it's a great way to improve your communication. That being said, all right, Liza, we need to hear about you. Talk to us about what you're doing.
I'm so glad you asked, and actually, it perfectly segues into Toastmasters segues into my mission in life, and my mission is to be the best version of myself. So when I think of Toastmasters, I think it's the dojo. It's the place I go to practice the thing that I want. So when Cameron was talking about eliminating those ums and ahs and filler words, that's where you go. You go to a place like Toastmasters. You go to a community where you get to practice. So that way, when you show up live, like on BizDev Live, you speak clearly, and you can communicate with people, and you can interact well. But my journey began in Nairobi, Kenya. Growing up as a Kenyan child, I feel like I had a multiplicity of cultures. I had education. We talk about formal education in school, then we have informal education through friends and stuff. And then I always say I had informal education, which was through my mom, my grandmas, because I come from a legacy of amazing women. And I always think back, and I don't know if you know this, Cameron, but today is the beginning of March, which is the beginning of Women's History Month. And for me, I'm just excited that it just happened perfectly that I am here on this show speaking to you, because for me, I feel like the work I have done has really been because I come from a legacy of amazing women. My great-grandma was a freedom fighter in Kenya for our independence from the British. She was actually nicknamed Wakingongo, which is not her real name. It was the name of the prison that she kept getting sent to, and the villagers just started calling her that because she was defying the laws of the British. She was pretty much just trying to put tin roofs, and that wasn't allowed. They wanted the Kenyans to continue having thatch roofs. So there was just so much history and pride in having this legacy of women. And I can go on and on about my grandma, my mom. My mom is truly amazing. But I would be remiss if I didn't mention my dad. In fact, my dad was a Kenyan golfer. He actually started off as a caddy for white settlers, earning 5 shillings a day. And so as he was a young Kenyan boy, loving the sport, but couldn't play the sport of golf in Kenya because only white people could play. When we got our independence, and Wakingongo is on my mom's side. So when Wakingongo was fighting for our independence, my dad, as a young Kenyan boy, was gifted a set of golf clubs by a white settler who no longer wanted to stay in Kenya. And as they say, the rest is history. He went on to captain the Kenya team 9 times in a row. He taught me how to play golf, and I truly play golf in his legacy. He actually passed away when I just graduated high school. And I feel like that's when my life shifted. I literally remember standing at the doorstep of his hospital room, my mom chanting, he just. Hadn't seen my dad for 6 months, and just walking in 30 minutes late to him passing away with cancer, seeing his frail body and realizing that I had missed this person who not only was a champion for our country, but a champion for our community, our champion for our family. And I just graduated high school, and I was waiting for dad to tell me, what are you going to do next? Went into a deep depression, and next thing you know, a year of my life has passed and I've done nothing. And then one day, just sitting at the door, actually at the bedside of my dad's room, and I remember thinking that it looked exactly the same. His cologne was exactly where it was, his books, everything. And I realized then that my mom was going through exactly what I was going through. She was going through it too. She had lost the love of her life. And you would think 1996, I still go through it when I think of that moment. And I remember going through a spiral and realizing that there was hundreds and hundreds of people at my dad's funeral. And they were there because he had touched their lives. I remember when he would play golf. He was an amateur golfer. So when he won a monetary award, we would travel to the rural communities, and he would be putting a roof on a school, or he would be giving the kids soccer balls so they could play sports, or whatever it was, where there was a need. I say my dad was there. And so I just think back, he would buy bags of cut candy, and that was our job. Me and my little sister and my brothers, like, our job was to hand out the candy to the kids, hand out the soccer balls, and hand out all the fun, right? While he was there giving a speech of motivation and putting roofs on schools. And I decided at that moment, right before I even finished high school, that was going to be my legacy as well. And now fast forward, I didn't know that I was going to have a love for computer science and end up having an amazing career, just building automation for organizations, and then having this idea to teach kids how to code. So I started an organization called Texas Techies, where we were teaching kids as young as 4 years old how to code, hosting computer animation competitions all over the world, teaching kids how to love and aspire to be coders, because I believe coding is a language. And how do you learn languages? If you can learn a language before you're 5, then it sticks. So why aren't we teaching kids how to code? Why aren't we teaching them this language before they are grown up? So that's my mission. And then fast forward, finding an opportunity to get on a television show like The Apprentice. Who would imagine this young Kenyan girl who came with this dream to just be a champion for the community ends up on a television show knowing nothing about what The Apprentice was about and realizing there that there was a platform. And so powerup.org is our organization where we're all about providing opportunities where everyone rises up. And Cameron, you know I've been speaking a lot about my journey. You know, there's a lot more things that I can add, but for me, I'm just most excited because I know that the work that I'm doing today is all about legacy work. You know, we're talking about celebrating Women's History Month, and we're honoring and celebrating the achievements of women who have created a platform. So I always think about the things I'm doing as, am I elevating the platform, you know? And so when I wear my high heels, I'm thinking, am I elevating the platform of the women in my life? You know, people came and they made me where I am now. I can't even imagine walking in a Kenyan prison in God knows what type of conditions. Can you imagine my life now? I am here as a result of that. And so my job is to push that forward. My job is to continue living that life and continue, I guess. Yeah, somebody commented being a hero. I'm just excited because I feel like you have to live a heroic life because the world needs heroes, real heroes, not the made up heroes in comic strips, real heroes today more than ever before.
I love that. And I feel like you blew through your story and there's so much more to it. One of the things that I think was really incredible because you went from Kenya to Texas and you sort of kind of just blew through that. But you were a golfer. You followed in your dad's footsteps, right? And
I did.
And is that how you
I got here? Yeah. So I went through that process where I had that spiraling happening, right? So I'm sitting at the bedside of my dad's bed, and then I'm spiraling literally because I'm thinking, what am I doing? What am I doing? Something just clicks, and I realize that my dad's life was not about making money, being the best golfer. All those people who came to his funeral where the traffic was even being stopped, you know, because there was so many people there. It was because of the legacy he had left behind of people he had touched. And at that moment, I decided to make my mission a mission of playing golf in honor of him. So I couldn't stop playing golf. Every day, my mom would drop me off at the golf course at 6 o'clock. I would sit there and wait for the sun to rise, go to the driving range, hit balls, and then putt for a little bit. She would pick me up, take me to the bus stop, go to school, come back from school, go back to the golf course. And Cameron, would you believe this? While I was finishing my A-levels, because we did the British system in Kenya, while I was finishing my A-levels, I made it on the Kenya women's golf team. That's by amazing. 2 strokes. So those of y'all golfers out there, I don't even know how it happened. I literally was just playing tournaments. Next thing you know, there's an announcement that I have enough points to be a member of the Kenya women's golf team. And what that means is that you're representing the country in all regional, international competitions. So now the country pays for you to travel around the world playing golf. I was in high school, so it was pretty crazy. I was actually the youngest person to ever make it on the Kenya women's golf team back then. Wow. So now I'm traveling around. Next thing you know, I graduate high school, and then an offer letter comes from Texas A&M University, Corpus Christi, which is where I went to school. We had no idea that there was this scholarship thing to play a sport. That didn't happen. That's only in America, by the way, okay? There's no other place in the world where they pay you, which is college scholarships or payment. And they just want you to come have fun, right? Playing a sport, and they pay your education. That's crazy. So my mom didn't believe it. She thought it was some human trafficking thing. So she brings me, you know, so we get on a plane and we get here, and it's real. It is freaking real. I can't even believe it because I still remember that feeling of meeting the coach at the airport, going and seeing Texas A&M University, and realizing that this happened because I was relentless on playing golf for the legacy of my dad, not knowing. I didn't know. You know what I mean? Like when you don't know what you're doing, you're just doing, right? And I think your
story when you said I was waiting for my dad to tell me what are you doing next? You know,
Yeah.
as your father, that hit me, and I wanted to bring us back to, you did something next, right? You did take action, and I think you know that's something that's amazing, and I think that's what your father probably would have really wanted you to do. He raised somebody that was about taking action. God bless your mother for also being there and helping. I don't know what I would do without my wife to support me and help us with our kids as they're growing up. It's something that, you know, for folks with, you know, two parents. And I grew up, I had both of my parents, but my mother was out on the West Coast in California, and my father, I grew up mostly with him in New York City. And so you definitely feel the absence of a parent. So my deep condolences to you, but I'm also want to say congratulations, because you're not only moved forward from that moment, but you're bringing his legacy on forward, which is just amazing.
And can I add something? Because I feel like we always talk about like this, it was like a nightmare, right? But I feel like I wouldn't be here today as the person I am if that wouldn't have happened. Because I realize now that that was a gift for me to be able to have foresight of what life really is. All your hopes, dreams, ideas, they die with you, literally. Like, you're dead. Like, once it's over, it's over. And so every time I just remember seeing his frail body and realizing it's over for him. So any future hopes, dreams, or aspirations he had for me, like, it's over. Like, there's no message for me anymore because he's not there to give it. So what you do with your time now is most valuable. And the trouble is, we all think we have time to do it tomorrow. Oh, it's okay, I'll just do it tomorrow. Tomorrow is not promised. I was 30 minutes late, Cameron. 30 minutes late. And you could be 30 minutes late for the opportunity of your life. So it was just
I think it goes both ways too, right? People feel like, you know, they can't do it all now, so they're just going to give up.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, you know, I just can't do it all. And then the other side, which is what you're talking to, is, you know, put it all out on the field. Let's go. Like, yes, you know, you don't want to, you know, burn yourself out, you know, all the day and try to do too much. Focus on one thing, put one foot in front of the other and get it done. And I love that that's what you did. I want to just acknowledge Robert, who's a fan. Watch your job, Camp. She's awesome, energy off the charts. Don't I know it? Believe me, she's welcome anytime to come and take the helm here. Is there anything she can't do? Wonder Woman, Superwoman, and a few more all in one person. Yeah, no, when she booked this date, when you booked for today, I was like, oh, this is perfect, right? This is perfect, because we got the launch to Women's History. You know, this is what it is. So so glad that you're here with us. So I want you to talk a little bit more. So you took the trip, and I think that's something big. You know, I'm big in the college and career prep, and so when your mother was having that conversation of human trafficking, I was laughing. But you know, either on the real side, like there's just crazy stuff going on in the world, which, you know, I don't think everybody realizes, because there's some real nasty stuff going on. And then on the other side, when you're not exposed to a whole lot of different things, you don't have access. And that's sort of, you know, again, my life mission, education, opportunity, understanding what you have access to, the opportunities that are available to you. If you've never traveled outside of, you know, forget your country or your state, if you never traveled outside your town, you just don't know what the world can offer you. You just don't know. And so I love that was part of your story, like going out and discovering, okay, hey, there's this opportunity over here. So talk to us about what that ended up meaning to you and your family. Obviously that moved into some incredible opportunities going forward.
Yeah, so, you know, you always hear like ignorance is bliss, right? Because if you don't know, then you're just kind of like cruising along, right? So I really think that whenever I came here to Texas A&M, I feel like a light bulb came on, because it was almost like I got it. And I realized that you may not know what you're doing right now and what impact it's going to have 1 year, 2 years, 3 years from now. So for example, I didn't know that my passion for golf, which I didn't think that, oh, golf, I'm just going to be playing golf for fun, right? I didn't know it was going to pay for my education. I didn't know it was going to lead me to end up actually being a member of the Kenya Women's Golf Team, traveling the world. Sorry, go ahead. There's so many things I didn't know, Cameron. So I think for me personally, what I would say is whenever all of this opportunity that Texas A&M provided me, it kind of made me realize and have confidence in my power. So I feel like I started living my powered up life at that moment, because I noticed actually when I came here to the United States that the students who are American students didn't realize the opportunity that they had. I come from Kenya, people call it a third world country. I don't get it, right? Because hello, we have golf courses, right? But at the same time, I feel like there's more opportunities maybe in a place like Kenya, because golf is a rich man's game here in the United States. And if I can just be as bold as saying we need to distill that myth, because it's a sport just like any other sport. You don't have to have the best golf clubs in the world to make it on the Kenya women's golf team, to travel the world and compete and win, right? So the point is that when I came here, I realized that my mind frame was a little different. And so I was seeing the opportunity where others were seeing a challenge. So if we were challenged, I was like, okay, but why? Let's figure out how to get over that. And that's why right off the bat, I was winning an award, like Change the World Awards from the university, graduating with honors, and then getting my my first business off the ground, literally with a degree in computer science, knowing nothing about business, knowing I needed to do it. There's just so many things that happened because I realized that I can't be ignorant about this anymore. Time is not your friend, right? If you keep relegating yourself to, I'll wait till I get there, I'll wait till somebody tells me. Nobody is ever told what to do. You have to do it. You have to actually be your own best advocate for yourself. So I would say sometimes ignorance is bliss, but when you get it, then you start living your powered up life.
Yeah, I want the powered up life.
Okay.
So talk to us a little bit about some of the projects that sort of turned into, because first of all, I think something that would just be sort of interesting is how did you go from Texas A&M to the appearance on The Apprentice? What were the things that led to actually getting in the show? I think people are always dying, figuring out, well, you got media appearances, and how did you use that in your career? I know I have some questions about how you've used some of the social media stuff with LinkedIn. And so how did you kind of politic into that sort of stuff? And what has that kind of done to sort of shape who you are?
Yes. So I am a very different person than I was when I graduated with my degree, because as you can imagine, Cameron, sitting in the server room coding, you don't need to be dressed up. You wear your jeans and your t-shirt. You got a nice hoodie on. You're comfy. Coders got their little mitts on. Sometimes it's cold in the server room, right? So the point here is I became this person because my business demanded it. In fact, when I started my company, I went to the Small Business Development Center as Liza, the way I was with my coding gear. And I remember thinking when I would go into business meetings that, wow, everybody's wearing a suit, everyone's dressed up. And so what I can say, the transition from me graduating college and starting my business and then getting on The Apprentice was unimaginable to me, because actually, Cameron, can I tell you what was happening at that time?
Please.
Started my business, didn't know that there was a need for it. In fact, it didn't start as a business. I wanted my son to learn how to code, but he needed to go to daycare. So I decided to teach the teachers at the daycare to teach other kids how to code. That way they can learn together, right? So because when we get home after work, there's no time to teach him how to code. It's better if he's learning all day. Next thing you know, the director of the daycare goes and talks to the other daycare directors. I didn't know there was director meetings of daycare. My phone starts ringing. They want me to go teach their teachers how to use technology in the classroom. And at this point, I was actually giving the daycare my laptop and my husband's laptop for when they were going to teach computer classes, because they didn't have computers.
Wow.
This is when I realized, oh my gosh, I can do this. And so I went to the Small Business Development Center. I told them I have an idea. I want to create a mobile computer lab. And I want to be able to provide this lab to the daycares. They don't have to set up anything. We'll come and we'll teach the classes. Yes, I was serving 50% of the daycares in our community. And then the recession hit in 2008. And I remember noticing this because I had 6 employees we had 6 mobile units, mobile carts. They would go in, teach classes, and then go to the next daycare. And then I remember we would have reduction in enrollment. I would have to let some of my employees go. And I remember thinking to myself, oh my gosh, this recession, my business is failing. I had contracts with the city. I had contracts with the school districts, and all of that funding got cut at the state level. And once the funding gets cut for early childhood at the state level, it trickles down to all the providers. And I was a provider. So I lost a lot of my business. I thought my business was failing until I got a call, actually. So let me tell you what happened, Cameron. Oh my gosh, this is the story of how I got on The Apprentice. That's crazy, okay? So I am late at night crying crying. Okay, it's midnight. I am bawling my eyes out because I've lost my business. I was making so much money that I was getting ready to quit my full-time job and go run this business full-time. And it felt like, you know, I don't know if you can imagine trying to grab something, but like you can't, like everything's slipping. And it felt like that. It felt like I just had it. I had it. What happened? You know, it's like, it's gone, you know? And then I'm at night crying because I can't believe this. Then I hear on CNN them talking about the recession and how somebody wanted to hear stories about how people have been affected by the recession. And guess who they're talking about? GM, all these big, huge companies. And I'm over here thinking, what about small businesses? What about Liza Wisner's busted her butt working a full-time job plus starting a business, and it's gone because of the recession? So I wrote this iReport email to CNN, which I wish I kept it because, you know, you hit submit and it's gone. I wrote this email, I guess, that was just so empowering because next thing you know, I get a call from Heather from The Apprentice. We read what you wrote and we would like to see if you would like to be on The Apprentice. My business was failing, Cameron. And I don't think at midnight, at whatever it was, that I would have imagined that somebody would have, I didn't even think anybody would read it, right? Like, you know, when you post something on social media, you're not thinking, oh, someone's going to read that and give me an opportunity. Of course, getting on the show meant that I needed to obviously do interviews. So there was multiple interviews that I had to go through. So I earned the spot to be one of the 16 candidates. And then finally, as a top 3 finalist. But I think the point is that you don't know. And so every time I keep saying, like, you don't know what's coming. You don't know what's coming. My business needed to fail, okay, for me to be able to be awake at midnight to hear CNN saying that, oh, we want to hear stories of how the recession has affected you. And then for that email to probably be sent at a time when nobody else probably sent a message, right? So you have to think about all the circumstances that have to happen in your life sometimes. So when you think that it's all going to happen because you're following the same formula as somebody else, it doesn't happen like that. I think sometimes in luck, it's luck, right? Because you don't know. You have no idea. You just have to continue with who you are and continue pouring yourself into your passions because you don't know when the rubber is going to meet the road. And literally for me, as soon as I got on The Apprentice, because I had suffered through the recession, I knew getting on The Apprentice was not going to be my end all. It was going to be the catalyst. And that's when I launched Power Up. That's when we started powering up communities. That's when we started raising funds to bridge the digital divide in regards to technology integration. That's when we started building a computer bus, right? So we have a computer bus that runs in Kenya that teaches kids how to use technology. We have solar panels on schools. We do so many things. Can
you break down as you're talking about this? Because I think, you know, one of the things that's really great, because we're talking to entrepreneurs, we're talking to business owners with this show, is how, right? So, you know, you started building community, pulling different resources from places. I'm assuming you didn't just, you know, do all of this yourself. So how did you kind of pull some of these resources together? I was thinking as we were putting the show together, I have a lady, her name is Grace, who's been talking to me from Nigeria, and she's somebody that is working hard in the hospitality industry. She's a seamstress, so she does sewing, she does fashion, she's trying to build her business. So I got, you know, that person. We got folks that, you know, have family that have come over here. They've made their life in the States, and they've gone to college, and they've gone to, you know, they're working for Deloitte and different companies like that. And they're going back to Africa and helping their communities in Ghana and in places. Then you just got your folks that are regular folks that are here in the States that are trying to do their things. By the way, shout out to Corpus Christi. One of the places, one of the reasons that's on the map is my wife is from Mexico, and Selena is a big deal for her. And Selena is also from Corpus Christi. So Women's History Month, shout out to Selena, rest in peace, and shout out to all her fans. But you're putting on Corpus Christi on the map as well. So talk to the folks how to build the community, how you've actually moved the needle in terms of doing some of these things with Power Up and with giving back.
So what I can say for sure is that you have to just be authentic. So I knew going into this that I wasn't a business person. So I always came at it as I'm a coder and I want to teach your kids to code.
You said you aren't a business person. I was like, whoa, okay. All right, so
now I am. Now I am.
That.
But I always, nobody wants to be sold, okay? And I think coming from the lens of being a coder and a person who just felt like I just want to teach kids how to code, and then having to learn how to build a business. I think for me, that part of my goal has always been to bridge the divide, right? So, because I felt like there was a divide. And so I would say when you're building your business, number one thing is to build a community, a network. Because when you're deciding to launch something, then you tell your network that you're getting ready to launch. So when you pull the trigger, you're ready to go, right? And they're ready to go for you. So I think for me, the strongest thing that I did was join, for example, our Small Business Development Center. So having a relationship with that organization, they actually helped me secure my first loan, where I was able to get my laptops off the ground, do a bit of marketing. And then the second thing that I think you need to do for sure is don't reinvent the wheel. So find a business, find an organization. It may not even be in the industry that you're in, but it could be a business that is kind of doing things the way you want to do them. See what they're doing, try to get to their level, and then go beyond, right? If you reinvent the wheel, then you're just kind of starting from zero. And I'm sure, Cameron, you'll agree that the franchise business model is very successful for a reason, right? If I decide that I want to start a Starbucks, let's say in my community, it's done. I'm successful instantly because it's rinse and repeat with Starbucks, right? Or McDonald's or whatever other franchises are out there. The goal is to build your business with that mindset. Who can you model? And then create a system where you put your authentic lens on it and then take it to the next level. Don't start from zero.
So talk to us about something specifically. And I just want to call out, Robert Person says you are the new female Black Panther, hands down, Wakanda forever. he's funny. And then Michelle, Lisa, when you put your energy and intention out to the universe, into the universe, it responds. Amazing story. Yes. And Robert Person following up, she is the business, right? So talk to us about, because one of the things that sounds really interesting to me, both from the nonprofit, because I'm on the chair of a nonprofit, and financing is always a struggle, right? Talk to us about the Power Up bus, right? So talk to us about how you put a project like that together.
Yes. So this is two-part story. The first story is I wrote a business plan for a competition, a business plan competition here in our community. And I wrote for this bus that would travel to rural communities, teaching people, not just kids, giving people access to technology, right? So computer classes, whatever they needed. I didn't win the competition, and I just kept fighting for it locally, right here in our community. And then this whole time, I didn't have the organization Power Up. I had Texas Techies. So I applied again, second time, business plan competition. Didn't even get to finalist, right? And here I'm thinking, this is the best idea in the world. Why isn't anyone biting on this? Okay. Then I got on the Apprentice, and I know I have a great idea. So when I got on the Apprentice, I took those business proposals I had written, and I knew I wanted to launch Power Up in Kenya. And I literally took those proposals, which I didn't know I needed them to be refined, but I had been refining them for 2 years. And I even had the name Power Up before. 2 years ago, I was going to create a program for girls. And it was actually going to be called Got Inspired, Girls of Today Inspired. And by the way, that organization doesn't even exist today. And there's not one that exists today. So if anybody wants a nonprofit name, you got it right there. And while I was thinking of all those names, Power Up came to me. And Power Up stands for Providing Opportunities Where Everyone Rises Up. Got on the Apprentice. Even before the episodes had ended, I was already building Power Up. And I knew what I was going to do. Launched this initiative in Kenya by sending out those proposals to all the big companies in Kenya. So I got an opportunity to meet with, actually, there's a software development company that's huge in Kenya. They do a lot of micro work in Kenya. So just like India and a lot of Asian countries, a lot of companies outsource out there. A lot of companies outsource to Kenya too. So I sent proposals to them. They're like a mini Google in Kenya. I sent proposals to HP, to Access Kenya, to all these organizations that are big, And guess what? They all said yes. I mean, I couldn't believe it. So here in my local community, it wasn't going to fly. But in Kenya, for some reason, I don't even live there, it flew. Next thing you know, a bus, solar panels, computers, done, And on top of that, it wasn't any funding that I got monetarily. So let me mention this one main thing. sometimes as a nonprofit, it's not the donations you get, it's the partnerships. So HP gave us laptops that we could give to the schools we were going to give to. Access Kenya gave us internet access to the schools we were going to, gave the bus internet access. They didn't have to give a donation for me to go buy. The bus itself was donated. And then the school, the lab that actually runs the bus itself, they use the bus as a community service for their employees. So they just have a sign-up sheet, and every day that the bus is going out, their employees are signing up. No money is exchanged, community coming together. And so all I can say is sometimes when you want to get the work done, the power of one is really about just seeing how you can bring things together. Like, you don't have to have $1 million nonprofit. You can have $1 million database of a network. That's where your riches are. My riches are not in the bank account or Power Up. My riches are in my network. Because if I just say something, I can raise $1,500 for a new foundation for a school if they need it. If I just say it to my community, they'll give me the funding because their water tank is broken. They need a new water tank. You know, that whatever it is, I'm able to just very quickly flip and have like pumps donated. Their pump died. I know somebody who can give us a donation of a pump. You know what I mean? So I think for me, I've just been able to build a huge community of people who support me. So when I ask for the support, I'm never really asking for monetary support. I'm asking for your time, your energy, and your expertise. So be ready, right? So join my community. Let me know what you do. And it won't be a heavy lift for you because you're already doing it. It would just be towards an opportunity so we can all rise up together.
I love that. And Robert's saying, okay, my finger's starting to hurt so much hearts. And like, she's amazing, my word. So I think that's, you know, it's really something when you say, I can put out the word and it comes, and it might not be the monetary thing, but it might, you know, it's because I think a lot of people strive for that. They're looking for that, but they don't know where to start. They don't know how to build the community. They don't know how to really run the request or the organization building, or even where to start in terms of, because I think you've done an amazing job when you talked about, you know, the whole Power Up bus. You reached out to organizations, so they don't even know where to start. You know, which organizations do I reach out to? What do I say? So where would you point people? Because I know that's too much to go into here. But where would you point people specifically? I know you talked, you know, in terms of like getting started with a business, which I love, you know, getting involved with your community, small business organizations. Where are places that you would point people to learn how to do this kind of outreach for their nonprofit, for their communities? Where should they go?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I can't even think of a place now, which is kind of crazy to say that because I think I'm
going to say go to Liza first.
I guess you could say that. You know, you can ask me.
Connect with Liza, right?
Yeah.
Because I know that you can give some advice and start giving some connections, right?
I can. Yes. And I would definitely help. I've helped other people launch their nonprofits. So I wrote I was going to launch Power Up, but it was going to cost $7,000 for an attorney to do it for me. I was like, what the hell? I went to college. I can do this, I think. I didn't go to law school, but I think I can do this. I did it myself, and the IRS approved my nonprofit. So I think we can do this. You don't need to spend $7,000 to get the paperwork. And so I've just learned over time that you don't have to wait. You can just do it. And so now you know me. So if you're wanting to push whatever passion you have, whatever cause you have, you can do it, you know, and you don't even necessarily need to do it under a nonprofit name. You know, it may be helpful. You can partner with a nonprofit. So let me tell you another thing that I was doing. So you've heard of TEDx, right? Events, TED events. So I was a licensee for TED. And so you're in Toastmasters, right, Cameron? So you know the value of hosting a Toastmasters conference and bringing people together. All those skills, I mean, you don't have to have a business to make an impact, you know? You could be learning these skills and providing opportunity through other organizations that you're a part of. So I would say if you don't want the heavy lift of having to own an organization and having to do your taxes every year and whatever it is that you have to do to maintain the business, if it's a passion project, you know, you could just literally just be doing it through another organization, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. And I think one of the things that, you know, in terms of your story that I think is enlightening for folks, because a lot of people want, you know, the big results and the ability to reach out to a community and have people sort of buy in. But I thought one of the really fantastic things was when you were talking about your son and daycare and wanting to give him the coding skills and like, okay, what's the solution? Let me go teach the teachers. I don't think everybody's first, idea jumps to that level of giving back or finding a way to give.
And you know what I can say is at that point, I tried to do it at home after school, but he was tired. I was tired from work. So it wasn't working out. And then I realized at that time that I know how to code, but I'm not a good teacher, I guess, for my son, because he's my son, right? He's not going to listen to his mommy.
I don't think that's uncommon. Yeah.
Yeah. So then I thought, he spends 8 hours at the daycare. What are they doing? ABC 1, 2, 3. They need to learn how to code now. We're wasting time, So I just thought, you know what? And I didn't even think of it. I gave them my laptop.
And people think of coding as some, or people could think of coding as something extremely complicated. But I know from experience that the kids can actually start building out little games, and there's different things and putting pieces together. And there's so many different pieces of software that make it easy. Yeah.
Yes, you got it. So I'm telling you right now, it's so easy to code. And nowadays, I think the complication is people think, oh, it's a college thing. I went to college to get a degree in computer science. So when I tell you that I knew I could teach my 4-year-old and my 5-year-old how to code, I can tell you that when I went to college, I realized that why wasn't I taught this earlier? Because we could be taking over the world right now if we knew how to code when we were 4 and 5 years old. So it's easy, it's just iterations, and it's just teaching. Actually, you just teach the matrix, right? You just teach the X and Y axis, and then that's it.
I know we're gonna lose people.
I know. I'm not going into that. Sorry.
No. I know, because I think it's really important to point to it and say, listen, if you get the base of this stuff, just like, I think, and these are getting a little bit further out into the national conversation, certainly on education, but financial literacy, life skills. And things that you can actually use in day-to-day stuff. And whether you go down the technical road of coding and all the things that would allow your life, whether you're doing it on a small scale with just building things that people are looking to in pieces of software like Zoho and whatever for your email, or you're building out video games. It's a big help. I do want to get to our takeaway pieces here to really make sure that we're delivering value here. So you've done a great job of, I think, discovering who you are. How would you recommend folks to discover who they are?
Yes, great question. So actually, discover yourself is the #1 step in the Power Up model. So we actually have a model that we teach kids. And I don't know if you mind, Cameron, but I'm going to plug my book. So every year we put out a Power Up Yearbook. And so you can go on Amazon and find the Power Up Yearbook. It's actually set up as a companion workbook to the courses that we teach for kids. And so we teach at different age levels. But the #1 thing about discovering yourself is if you don't know where you're at, how are you going to know where you want to go, right? And you need to understand that you have strengths that are important strengths. You are valuable just the way you are. So for us, it's very important for our kids to understand that they are powerful beyond measure because they are unique, and then hone that. And the reason you want to do that is because when the rubber meets the road and it gets tough, you need to have like a North Star that you can go to and say, this is who I am. Let me use my tools of who I am, right? So whether you're an introvert or an extrovert or whatever you discover yourself to be, there's personality tests you can take. In this book itself, we can actually help you hack your personality in terms of, are you type A, type B, based off of that? These are your virtues. There's so much. So when you discover yourself, you know the path that you can go because you know where you're at, Just like Cameron, if you were going to take a trip, you don't just tell your GPS to take you there, and it needs to know where you're at before it can tell you the directions, right? It doesn't just say, okay, go to Colorado. It says, where are you at? Let's go to Colorado, right? First from.
And I want to address that. Yeah, absolutely. So you have this book and people can get that, but I know a lot of people go to different places, right? Strength Finders, Marcus, I'm gonna mess up his last name. I think Marcus Buckingham, I want to say, and different places to kind of find your personality.
They're all in this book, by the way.
Oh, beautiful. All right. So, and say the name of the book one more time so folks know it, and we'll try to throw a link up to it.
Yeah, it's the Power Up Yearbook.
Okay.
Yeah, so, you can find it on Amazon.
So you're going to go to Amazon, pick up the Power Up Yearbook. You're going to find your personality. Now, a lot of times, I know even for myself, I'll do something like that, but I don't necessarily 100% trust it. I still find myself lost and confused and doubting. And, even just recently, I went through one of the pieces of the speeches that Toastmasters gives you, and it gives you like your leadership profile, and mine was coaching. And I was like, I don't want to be a coach. I don't think I'm myself as a coach. And then was like, well, I guess I kind of am, but at the same time, a little resistant to it. So as people are sort of figuring themselves out and taking these tests and sort of seeing the things that they are good at, and people are telling them, what to be good at, how do you recommend that people actually act on that? I know you're talking to young people and folks your age and even older. Like, how should people take action?
Yeah, you're going to love this book if you get it, because it walks you step by step from discovering yourself. And then the next lesson is about modeling. So there's a part in this book where we ask you to brainstorm of who your champions are. And maybe we take the kids back and we have them think about who are their champions, maybe in sports or their family. And that's where your riches are, because those are people that you admire and those are things that you admire. When you identify your champions, then now you know what you like and you know what will resonate with you. So when you identify a champion, the next thing we do is we help you model who that champion is. What do you like about them? Where do they live? How do they live? What about their family? Maybe how do they wake up in the morning? That's why waking up routines is so important to me. I want to know, how does this person live their life? So for example, I heard that Oprah wakes up at 4 a.m. and she does her workouts at this time and she does all this. And so in my mind, I'm like, wow, do you want that life, right? And a lot of people talk about Michael Jordan and they talk about other successful people. But when you start to really peel the onion and see the life they live, you realize what it takes to be at that level. And so what I would say, after you discover your strengths, after you discover your passions, to put it into action is about paying attention to, what do you like? What are you seeing? And you go, I wish I was like that. Or, I wish I could do that. Start to unpack it and realize that that's where the riches are. Remember, you model, you don't reinvent the wheel. You start somewhere where somebody else has already done it. So like Cameron right now, like, who can you model, right? So let's think through, who are you going to want to model so you're not reinventing the wheel? You may not consider yourself a coach, but maybe those characteristics of coaching is what, the word coaching may be your hiccup. It doesn't mean that you don't have to call yourself a coach if coaching doesn't resonate with you. You could say you're a support system, because you're supporting me right now. You know what I mean? So I think at some point, whenever you take these tests, that's why I have a whole bunch of them in here for our kids, because there's not one test you can take that's going to be like your end all test. You have to take multiple ones. And then from the multiple ones, you figure out exactly who you are.
I love it. And I was talking to my wife. I was actually telling her to watch the show today because I knew we were going to talk about something that was going to be impactful, but we've actually had this conversation. I also want to shout out, I just went out and bought the book on Amazon, and there's only, I think, 6. I know it says there's more on the way, but there's only 6 left right now. So
I know.
if you want to get it, go get it.
It's the 4th edition. And the reason why is because I have another edition coming out, and it's the Power Up Yearbook for heroes. It's going to be for heroes. So yeah, that one will be coming out soon too.
I love that. And while we're talking about heroes, because this is one of the questions, and we'll get to the next takeaway here, but who are your heroes?
Oh my goodness. So my great grandma, Wakingongo, people still talk about her and her fight for independence in Kenya. So who would have imagined that? And then I got a chance to meet her, and my son also got a chance to meet her. So he met his great grandma, and it just feels like at home we call it generational wealth. So I am truly blessed because I met her. So I feel like she was a hero for me. The second would be my dad. And I would say for the one reason that he actually passed away. And that is a sad thing to say that he's my hero because he passed away. But I feel like he led his life so unapologetically in terms of being a champion, and then also being a champion for the community, that it let me see at a young age what I needed to do. So it wasn't later. I don't have to learn it later. I know now what my life needs to be made of. And then the next thing I would say is my family. So my husband, Liza Wisner, is a true champion in my life. Cameron, when you get on a television show like The Apprentice and you have a 1-year-old who's still breastfeeding, and you tell your husband that you're leaving for 2 or 3 months to go on a television show, or you tell him you're going to start a business and you want to give his laptop away to the schools. I'm telling you, this guy is my hero, and he continues to pour into me in terms of me seeing him as a model of how we need to live our lives. He really truly is a hero for me in my life, because I don't know whether we can all say that we would be willing to give that much of ourselves so that somebody else can aspire to reach their highest of heights. So I mean,
his name is Dennis.
Dennis Wisner, yes.
Yeah, so Dennis, we appreciate you.
Yes,
we appreciate you a lot. Thank
you.
you.
So I would say my heroes are my heroes that I get to see and breathe and I touch every day. Of course, there's heroes in real life, right? In terms of our historical heroes that we can all celebrate. But I say you need to find heroes that are closer to home. Your love 2.0s. Those are the heroes that make or break you.
I love it. And I know a big thing for me over, especially the last month, but it's one of those things that really not taking anyone for granted in your life, right? The people that support you, that love you. Sometimes we kind of look over the people that are supporting us most, looking for, oh, why isn't that person over there supporting us? And we forget the like 20 people that are underneath our legs and our back and just, all, lifting us up to see, right? So I appreciate that a lot. All right. So let's jump into our next takeaway here. Automate your life. So you found your calling, you want to push towards it. How are we automating our life here?
Yes. And so this is where time is precious. That's where I kind of say that you have to automate your life in order to be able to maximize your time. You don't want to do the same thing over and over and over. So once you figure out a system, you need to figure out how to automate it so that you don't spend your time on mundane tasks. Long time ago, I used to actually teach this course where I teach automation. And the first thing I would say is, how many of y'all go to the grocery store and buy toilet paper and paper towels every day? You go, like when you go to the grocery store, and I say, you're never going to not want to buy toilet paper. So why don't you have it delivered to your house? So you don't have to think about it anymore. And so now with COVID, it's accelerated our process in terms of thinking. Automate the purchases. That's a simple automation. But even financially, automate your savings, automate the way you make your payments, automate all your financial things so you don't think about it anymore. It's handled. And then when you start your business, don't become an employee of your business. You need to run your business, which means figuring out a system, tracking it. So I teach algorithms for business. So I teach, and this is for kids, right? So I'm teaching the kids how to build algorithms. So the reason why is because I want to teach them that coding principles are life principles. Just like there's computer runs on systems, our bodies and our lives run on systems. So if you teach yourself, if this, then that, then I get a result. If you write those steps down, you can give somebody those steps and they can do it for you. You know what I mean? And then you can move on.
Because at the end of the day, that's our habits, right? If this happens, we do this, right? That's our habitual systems.
Guess what, Cameron, after that? Now you free up your time to do what you want to do. Do you feel like taking a nap? Do you feel like spending time with your family and taking a walk? Do you feel like maybe going on a vacation one day? You can't maximize on the things you want to do if you're stuck in these time things, So automate your life, get your time back, And I'm not saying that the passion projects you have are not things you want to do. Yes, they're things you want to do, but at some point or another, automation is the answer for you to take it to the next level. You can't do everything. You could never be able to do everything.
So you sort of spoke to it already in terms of maximizing your time. I want to talk to one big point, which is something that I try to focus on because I feel like it's one of those things that in my life, if I could go back and change anything, and I made some big errors. I talk about my story, having a kid at 19 and the challenges of that, not graduating high school. The one error primary above all, that I would go back to is I would have saved from a much earlier age. If I could have saved starting as a teenager, around 19, whatever that journey is, but I would have saved money because I think that would have made a major impact and made a lot of other decisions and a lot of other things easier. And just even the mindset of saving. I saw a post the other day. They were like, oh, work until your bank account it looks like a phone number. And my sort of twist on that was, no. Don't work until your account looks like a phone. Save until your account looks like a phone number, because you can work your fingers to the bone. You can work, and you can still have nothing to show for it. Saving is really the big deal. And obviously a lot of people need to work and save to make that all work, because the income is definitely, if you don't have any income, very difficult to save. But even if you got 2 quarters, you can save one, right? You can figure out a way and put something away. And that's a big differential. So I want you to address both the saving thing, like what are the ways that people can save? Go ahead. What are the ways that people can save, and what are the ways people can maximize their time?
Oh my goodness. So I actually have, when you get this yearbook, you'll see that it's really, truly just a workbook, because there's 3 pages in here for you to work through. First of all, what are your superpowers in returns to earning income? So there's an opportunity for you to brainstorm all the ways that you can earn passive income. The second is for you to live your life's riches. So first, you need to know that there's an amazing book by Napoleon Hill called Think and Grow Rich. Yep. And it's not just about the riches in terms of financial riches. In fact, the financial riches are the 12th riches that he talks about. The other 11 are all about amazing riches that have to do with having a purpose in life, positive mental attitude, and that's the only way you get there. But the one that I wanted to share is I actually make the kids read the book by Robert Kiyosaki, which is Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and we unpack the cash flow quadrant for them, because I really want them to understand, if you can go get a job. I have a job, but you have to make that a decision by understanding that there's multiple ways to make money in life. And so I think, a lot of times people say that, work on your 7 streams of income. So I apologize. It's actually 4 pages about income in here, because time is money, right? And I always say that at some point you have to make a decision on what you want to do in your life, and whether your ability to work as hard as you want to work will be able to get you there, right? So some people are comfortable living in a forest, in the bushes, on like literally off the grid, and like doing everything they can to like take care of themselves. And other people want to live in mansions, in penthouses. They want to travel all over the world. Once you figure that out, then you realize what your effort is. Because nobody gets a job because they just want to go to the job. Nobody's coming to the job because the job is the thing. They give you money to buy the things you want out of life. So figure out what it is that you want. And again, just get the workbook, work through the workbook, and it'll kind of walk you step by step. And I think, Cameron, the one thing I can say here is that you wish that your young self, your teenage self, knew how to save money. But I can tell you that that wasn't your priority. That wasn't, when you were a teenager, you weren't thinking like that, because probably no one told you that. And so my goal here is that
I've corrected that with my children. I
love it. That's the point, because ignorance is bliss. When you don't know, you don't know. But if you know, you can't unknow. You know now. So when you're teaching kids, you're teaching your kids, you're teaching the kids in the community, in the neighborhood, how to save money, how to think about 7 streams of income, how to think about, yes, I want to drop, but maybe I can start a small business, delivering whatever, mowing lawns. I don't know, whatever they decide to do, making books. Oh my goodness. So we actually help kids publish their books online. So we have kid authors. They're called Power Up Kids. And as you can see, they're just literally writing their books on their own. They're writing and drawing on their own. We publish their books for them. They make hundreds and hundreds of dollars. One girl is making $2,000 right now on Amazon. Obviously, it's probably her friends and family buying the book. But the point here is she's realizing that she has a skill there in authorship, right? So the point is that for me, learning about the different streams of income is the point, because the way you live your best life is by having more time. Time is money. And if you're not building riches just to have money in your bank account, Cameron. You're building riches so you can buy freedom of time to spend time with your family, spend more time with your wife, spend more time enjoying the things you want out of life.
And I love that you're teaching kids the entrepreneurship piece, the multiple incomes things from a young age. I definitely got to fly down. I have a 12-year-old niece that's actually in San Antonio, and then my 12-year-old boy, who both of them are amazing artists. So we're gonna get on a plane as soon as this pandemic is all over. We're gonna come and visit you, and we're gonna get some books published. I love it.
Let's do that. I'll autograph them.
That is amazing. So I want to leave people with lots of ways to get in touch with you. Your LinkedIn address is down below in the details of the YouTube video. It's off to the side over on Facebook. I know we're on Periscope, and hopefully they got the tag there. I was telling Liza before we jumped on, her phone's going to be going crazy as soon as she starts checking all the notifications and all that kind of stuff. Tell us how and who should be getting in touch with you.
Yes, anyone and everyone who has a pulse, get in touch with me. My website, powerup.org.
I'm gonna refine that a little bit. Anybody that is trying to do good in the world, anybody that is trying to help people, get in touch with Liza, because she is awesome.
Yeah, but even somebody who does not want to do good in the world, they need people like us to.
Well, I'm just going to say this: they're not trying to reach out to you, and if they are, we don't care about them. So we're going to make time for the folks that are trying to do good in the world.
Yeah. Anyway, I accept all offers because I really learn. I feel like I learn more from people who don't agree with what I'm doing, So I think I accept all invitations to have conversations about anything. The most important thing for me is to join the network. So we have a powerup.org is the website, and you can join the Power Up network. So it's powerup.network. And once you join that network, we call it the network of heroes. And it's all about building a network of people who are on a mission to be agents of change. And so that's where we get into the dojo. When we talk about Toastmasters is the place you go to practice how to speak and how to communicate and how to be a leader. You go to the Power Up network to learn how to be a hero in real life. And so that's the number one place you can find me. I'm always there trying to inspire people. And again, this is my life's work, and I'm teaching kids because I want my kids to resonate. If they see other kids learning, they'll learn better. It's not just a mommy-daughter thing. It's a mommy-son thing. I don't have girls. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I just said that. Maybe there's a girl. I have no idea. But I think you
have a lot of adopted daughters out there.
Yes, I do.
Like to call you mommy. Yeah.
Anyway, the point is I teach the kids in a community because I think that's where kids thrive. They don't thrive one-on-one. They thrive when they're learning together. So when you join that community, there'll also be an area for the youth to join. And that is a private channel only for youth. So they can communicate in there. So contact us at powerup.org.
I love it. All right. So everybody, please do get in touch with Liza. I'm so excited that you came on the show today. I'm so excited that I got to know a little bit more about you. I want to give a shout out to Robert Person and Michelle Lippin, and Angie Legg was in the comments today. So we thank everybody for checking in. Thank you so much for being on the show with me, Liza. I know we're going to collaborate on some things because I know we have some similar passions, and I'm looking forward to supporting you. So thank you so much for being on the show. I'm going to let you close it out here with just some closing statement kind of words, and leave people with some advice, and definitely give them the website one more time, and then I'll play us off with the BizDev theme.
Awesome. So like you heard, I'm Liza Wisner, and I'm just excited to be here helping hopefully to power you up so you can live your best life. I teach life hacks and I teach skills on how to truly maximize your time. But the most important thing for me is about human capital optimization. And so I take a focus on teaching life skills and teaching automation so that you can truly live your best life. I hope you make today an amazing day. Today is Women's History Month, beginning of Women's History Month. And so I hope you can think about all the women in your life that you want to honor and celebrate. Send them a text, send them a message, maybe give somebody in your home a hug and let them know that you appreciate them. They're phenomenal, just like Maya Angelou said. And if you're a woman right now, you are phenomenal. Thank you so much for watching this show and for supporting Cameron, because he's doing an amazing job elevating the spotlight for a lot of community work that is all about developing our networks so that we can truly be the best humans that we can be. So once again, my website is www.powerup.org. Thank you so much, Cameron.
Thank you. See everybody tomorrow.
BizDev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. BizDev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. BizD with C, brought to you by Cameron T. BizD with C, brought to you by Cameron T. This is business development, not even selling it. This is intelligent. If you watch it, I promise you benefit. Leadership and motivation, empathy and inspiration. Leadership and motivation, empathy and inspiration. Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time.